Welcome to the Trucking Through Life podcast, where truckers Tom and Michelle discuss angels, spirit, and soul subjects in a down-to-earth manner while providing practical applications for the everyday person. Hello, everyone. This is Michelle, and welcome to another thought-provoking episode of Trucking Through Life. And we are in our new studio today. We have a new studio, don't we, Tom?
Yes, we do.
I told you Tom would be back, see? So, we had quite a difficult week just a week ago. And you wouldn't think in April we would have this week, but it was...
Do you think you ought to explain the new studio situation?
Well, yeah, we're in a new truck this time. So now we have a different setup, so to speak. To me, it's still a truck. But it is a quieter truck. So we're going to see if that's going to affect our recording any, make it maybe a little bit better. Of course, we do have this squeaky armrest over here we had to remove, so I had to stuff a paper towel in it because it kept going every time we hit a bump. Tom's like, you want to put a paper towel in that or something? I'm like, well, that's a good idea, Tom. I knew I married you for some reason.
Yeah, I'm the brains of the outfit.
Oh, so anyway, we had quite an experience about a week ago on our trip. We had every form of weather except a volcanic eruption and an earthquake. It was a hard trip, wasn't it, Tom?
It was high winds.
Yep.
Like when I say high winds, we're talking 70 mile an hour plus. Blowing snow, ice, black ice,
Yep.
hard rain,
Yep. Tornado
in
Nebraska.
dust.
Yep. Dust storm.
What else? Are we missing something?
Yeah, 95 at Needles in the desert, or not Needles. Where were we? It was 95.
Needles.
It was Needles? 95. Yeah.
And road closures due to icy roads and wrecks.
Oh yeah, and boy did we see a bunch. I saw a bunch when I was driving. It was we just had got through Snoqualmie Pass.
They closed it.
And they closed it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that was all in just 2 days.
And that is so true. So true. Now, when Tom was taking his sleep shift and I was driving, the roads were starting to turn to ice, so I did my sunrise siesta. A lot of times, whoever's driving around sunrise will pull over for about an hour because remember I've talked about that energy shift before that occurs from night to morning, and it kind of puts you in a trance state. And there's no research on this, but I think they should research this.
There is.
Is there research that there's more accidents caused during that time of day?
Between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. is the worst time of day to drive. It's called the bewitching hours.
Yeah, and I call it the bewitching hours because that's when you get visitations from loved ones when you're sleeping.
Well, that's just because that's when you go to sleepy by automatically.
Yeah. So anyway, I decided to just take my sunrise siesta, and I was hoping temperature would come up enough that the ice would be off of the road by time, or at least turn to slush. If it's slush, it's not as big a deal. And it did. It turned to slush by the time I got up, but I saw one semi-trailer after another just ripped open like a can opener, a giant can opener, had just gone down the sides of them. Just one after another, after another, after another on Highway 80.
I also saw in Oregon, I saw a whole herd of elk. There had to have been at least... No, that's
caribou.
Caribou, yeah.
Oh.
No, elk, saw probably about 50 of them. They were just standing on the side of the road, looking like they just wanted to cross right in front of me, and so I had to tell them.
Just like the Polar Express.
Yeah, just keep their asses put, and we'll be fine. Nobody will get hurt.
Yeah, so it's been interesting. And today we are in LA. That's where I like to record because I know I'm going to get a good signal all the way, whereas it's 88 degrees and sunny. It's lovely here, but it's also like 70 and sunny at home. So
they said 65.
65 at home. That's okay. It's that's okay. Home's not so bad. Starting to get some spring weather finally. So So I was driving last night, and I was passing a truck, and right before I passed that truck, another truck flew up beside me on my right side, like flew up and slammed on the brakes. And I'm like, and then he started like he was like trying to edge me over to the ditch. He like came over my lane twice. I'm like, what in the hell? I'm just like driving, minding my own business, just passing this truck. So lo and behold, I get up next to him and I look in the window, and the reason he's in my lane is because he's trying to get his left leg up onto the dash while he's driving a truck. There should be laws against that. But anyway, so today we're going to talk, we're going to diverge. That's our trucking report for the week. So now we're going to okay, now we are going to talk about this week's subject. And this week's subject brings up a lot of questions for people. And the biggest question it brings up, like, oh, what is it?
Well, I do have a question for our listeners.
Is this related to our show or trucking?
Just a personal question.
Oh, it's a personal question. Uh-oh. Look out, everyone. Hold on to your hats.
Just so you guys know, my wife wanted a chainsaw for Christmas. And last year she wanted a gun.
And I got both.
And she started digging up her garden, but it's about 8 foot deep, and I just want to know if I need to be concerned. Okay.
I didn't dig up the garden, but I did get another gun, and I did get a chainsaw,
and you got a shovel.
Yeah, I did get a shovel, but I need those things because I work with the planet and trying to remove invasive species from behind our home.
Am I an invasive species?
You're not an invasive species, so you're safe. And I love using my chainsaw. So women, get out there, use your shovels and chainsaws. Don't be afraid of them, okay? Don't buy into that a woman can't cut down a tree thing, okay? A woman can cut down a tree just as much as a man can. But anyway, now on to today's subject. Well, that kind of brings me up a little bit about today's subject and consciousness and our limiting thoughts and our limiting beliefs and la la la. So today's subject is, what is consciousness? Consciousness is actually being studied. So there is a new study, and I don't want to say it's new. It's new to us because consciousness has been around forever. Consciousness, the study of consciousness, is a study of how our thoughts affect our environment. Okay? So we're going to go a little bit beyond that. Not just our thoughts, but it is our spiritual soul essence. That's what consciousness is. So if someone says, I'm trying to elevate my consciousness, they're trying to raise the bar and live higher with their soul, or live higher with their vibration, and more aware of their choices and selecting choices that lift them and the people around them up. Because consciousness has levels. So just like, and I never thought about it. They always say the stairway to heaven, Well, maybe each one of those steps is a different level of our consciousness, because we take the first step and then we go to heaven, and then we, as a soul, we reevaluate everything. We decide we want to learn the next lesson, so we come back down, and then we take the next step. Ooh, this guy's going slow. Jeez Louise. Sorry. You guys always, know what it's like.
His license plate says dumbass. What do you expect?
Oh, it does. Oh my God. But you guys, you probably feel like you could drive in LA after listening to us, because we were always talking about.
It says dumbass
I know.
on his license plate.
Tom's right. His license plate does say dumbass. I'm like, okay. Well, we know what his limiting thought is. I'm a dumbass. Okay.
Well, if the license plate fits, wear it.
Oh, so anyway, you look at consciousness. Consciousness is our essence. It's our soul. It's our spirit. It's all of that. Okay? So from the spiritual standpoint, look at that. He's he can't figure out what he's going to do. He's such a dumbass. Oh, sorry. But so what we do is when we are in whatever you want to term it, you want to term it nirvana or heaven or the universal energy or whatever you want to call that. When we are there, we are pure energy, pure consciousness. And it is when we are in that state that we decide to take on some sort of form in order to learn something and evolve our spiritual state. Because you never stop learning. Ever, 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 ever. And everyone who is here on this planet, they may or may not know it. And in fact, I'm going to go with most of them don't know it, that the only reason you are here is for your spiritual benefit. That is the only reason you are here. Whether you know it or not doesn't matter. But that is the only reason you are here, is for your spiritual growth and your spiritual benefit. You aren't here for someone else's spiritual benefit. You are here for your growth. So you are the one that directs your life. You started directing your life from the second that you decided you were going to come here. And where now that doesn't mean you don't have soul contracts with people like loved ones, parents, siblings, whatever. You even have soul contracts with people who you hate and can't stand, believe it or not, because they're stimulating something in you for you to learn about yourself. So everyone is all about blaming everyone else, right? Well, I got news for you folks. It's all about you. You. And what triggers you. And the reason that it triggers you is because you have that lesson to learn, whatever that lesson is to learn. So look at someone you can't stand. They're triggering something that is within yourself that you don't like. So the way to approach that, instead of confronting this person constantly, go into yourself and examine why do I not like what I see in them in me? Because that is why you don't like people. Because they are stimulating something within yourself. They're stimulating something that needs to be addressed, brought out, learned, worked through. Sometimes it's not something that needs to be resolved. Sometimes it's something that's stimulating you to make a change. And so you have to kind of look inside of yourself. What is causing this in me? What is causing this in me? And look within yourself. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to constantly reflect on every single thing, but big things. Look at big things, and you're going to see patterns. You're going to see patterns start to emerge. You know, you hear about people who always get in bad relationships all the time. They can't seem to find the right person. They're in a bad relationship, one after another, after another, after another. So the key to that is go inside of yourself and ask yourself, why am I attracting the bad relationships? You're attracting it for a reason. You're putting out an energetic beacon that it's attracting it, and that's up to you. So what you put out into the universe, you get back, always. So think about that. What you're putting out, you are getting back. You know the old saying, misery loves company? That's a prime example. If you're miserable and you're putting that out, guess what you're going to get back? Misery. Okay? So you can choose what you're putting out, because what you choose to put out is what you're going to get back. Now, it's really easy to say, I'm going to make the conscious decision. See, there's that consciousness thing to avoid. We're going to stick with the relationship thing just because it's a common thing, and I think most everyone knows someone that suffers from that. So we're going to put out there, I'm no longer going to attract lousy relationships. I'm not going to do it anymore. Well, you can put it out there and you can think it in your intention, but you have to then go inside of yourself and ask you, what are the factors that are leading up to that you need to eliminate? Because you can't just say, I'm going to do this and then it's going to change. it takes some internal work. You've got to work through it. You have to go through and say, what is it that's causing me to do this? Is it a history of bad relationships? Is it a low self-esteem? Is it identify it? Go in there, ask yourself, what is it? And work on that aspect. Start a journal. Start a journal, people. There's something that happens when you write it down. Because not only are you saying, I'm not going to do this anymore, you are putting it on paper. And that makes it solid in the physical realm. So I think I hear my armrest squeaking. Doggone it. I don't know if you guys can hear it or not, but I can. We're going to take that armrest off, by the way. We just haven't gotten to it yet. Because speaking of consciousness, the witching hour, all that kind of stuff, Tom had decided, and I thought it was an awesome decision, he's decided to put blue lights inside the cab of our truck. You're probably wondering, well, what in the heck is blue lights going to do? Blue lights interrupt your circadian rhythm, and they prevent you a lot of times from falling into deeper sleep. Okay? In fact, Tom used to laugh at me, as usual, but I laugh at myself too. Like, he's not laughing at me like making fun of me. He's laughing at me like, I cannot believe this. But when we had our camper, we had an alarm clock that had blue letters on it. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yes. And I had to put a towel over the alarm clock at night. Why did I have to do that, Tom?
Because the blue light kept you awake.
Because blue light kept me awake. And
Asshole.
You didn't hear him say, you asshole. I'm assuming it was that green semi that just flew by us, ignoring us. Yes.
Because the lanes are closed?
Yeah. He wouldn't let us merge over because the lanes are closed. But guess what? Nanny, nanny, boo, boo. We made it over anyway. But so he thought I was the only one in the world that was affected by this. But I could not sleep because the blue lights keep me awake. Well, then we took some friends camping with us. Remember, we took Al and Karen.
Yeah.
Took them. And so I had moved that alarm clock out into the other area of the camper where I couldn't see it. But it happened to be the area where they were sleeping. The first night, my friend says, do you have something I can put over that blue clock? Because I can't sleep. And then Tom's like, I'll be damned. She is not the only one. But blue lights do keep you awake. So he made a decision that we were going to put under cab blue lights, and then we have blue lights above our cab too.
They're under the dash.
Yeah, they're under the dash, and then they're in the storage compartments overhead. And then I came up, by the way.
Green truck.
Oh, looky, it's the green truck that cut us off. He's stuck over there in that slow line of traffic. I feel so bad for him. Oh, now that must be green trucks today.
Yeah.
This green truck just cut out in front of us, but obviously they did not put turn signals in his model of his trailer because he didn't use it.
I'm doing 55, he's doing 30, both right out in front of me.
Yeah. So anyway, by the way, Tom, I came with the solution of I can actually make covers. We can put Velcro up here, and I can just make a cover that go over those at night to cover our top ones up. Our top blue lights come on when the key is on. So I'm going to make a cover to put for those.
They do look really cool because it's just a glow. It's like you don't see the lights, it's just a glow of the lights.
Yes, it's just a glow. So everyone who passes me at night's probably thinking, damn, that cab looks so cool because it just glows blue. I wonder how they did that.
Have you seen it from the outside?
I have not. I do have to look at it. I didn't stop the other night except to pee once.
The whole curtain
I was on a mission, and you had these blue lights in here. So during the witching hour,
well, I've been staying up till like 2 in the morning. So
yeah. So it's been working so far. We've had them for a couple of days, and we'll keep you guys posted on that later. But I had 15 minutes where I was a little drowsy. And hold on, we got a stupid. Spam's calling you. But I had 15 minutes. I was a little drowsy, but I was able to just kind of get out, and then it just passed really fast because of the blue lights. So anyway, I don't think the truck manufacturers usually when they put an under they put I call it like a night driving light under the dash. You usually put in red. They're kind of stupid for doing that. They need to put in blue, but they don't know any different. So if any of you out there know engineers that design semi trucks, let them know they need to put a blue light under for the in-cab light for night driving, okay? So that does tie into consciousness, and that does tie into, oh my God, he doesn't have brake lights either. Where is Mr. DOT man? Oh man. He like his trailer lights are completely not even working, which means if he stopped in front of you guys when you were cruising on the highway, you would rear end him and slam yourself into the back of his trailer.
Yeah, but they do carry lights.
But so consciousness is being aware of you and how you're reacting and your changes and what triggers you and how you want to change that trigger. Now, a lot of you know that I do the tapping. So the tapping is a good way to look at your old thought that's limiting you. So let's say you were keep attracting those bad relationships because that's the example we're using. And you're like, why am I attracting them? Well, maybe the thought that's at the base of that is, I'm not worth it. Okay? So then with the tapping, you could take out the I'm not worth it thought and you could replace it with I'm valuable. Okay? So that's just something you can do with the tapping. There's other ways you can work through these limiting beliefs as well. But anytime you're going to try to eliminate a limiting belief that is usually low on the abundance list, and I call it a lack belief. It's lacking. So the reason that something like I'm not good enough, that's a lack belief because it doesn't promote abundance. Or I'm not worth it, that's a lack belief because it's promoting that you have no worth. Okay, you want to put in an abundant belief with it. So this is reprogramming. You have to go in and you have to reprogram the lower part of your brain because even though your consciousness and your soul knows you're valuable, your soul knows you're divine by nature because we are all divine by nature. Unfortunately, our brain is our recording system here in this plane and it picks up a lot of junk we don't need. It picks up a lot of belief systems that don't serve our soul. And so we have to go in and we have to work with that program, just like you put a new program in a computer. You take out the old program that isn't working, you put in the new program. You do the same with your brain because your brain is kind of your hardware interface for your because we really are avatars here. Okay, we are avatars here for our consciousness. Our consciousness is our soul, and it's our divine aspect of ourself. We enter into these avatars in order to learn this lesson or play the game. If you're a gamer, I'm going to go play the human game, and I'm going to learn trust or whatever. I'm going to learn what it's like to be dependent, or I'm going to learn whatever. Okay, so when you come, and that is another reason why not everyone is aware of their consciousness as well. Because some people, I have worked with a client before, they were here to learn to be dependent, to see what that is like to be humanly dependent on people. And so that is, however, let's do a quick side note here. Let's say they did learn the lesson. So then they decide they're going to get rid of that aspect and reprogram for a higher step up, in that I am no longer dependent and I am independent. They can do that because you can learn more than one lesson when you're here. I had someone once didn't want to know their soul purpose because they thought if they knew their soul purpose and if they accomplished it, they would die. But that is not true. You are consciousness. You just move to the next chapter. You just move to the next lesson. Maybe it takes you 5 lives to get through the lesson. Maybe it takes you 1/5 of a life to get through the lesson. But there's always more lessons, always, because we are evolving. We are evolving, and we are pure energy. We are pure energy, and we entered into this physical form. We took our energy system, and we attracted all the molecules and all the matter, all the atoms that it needed to make this body. So you already created a body. So that's pretty awesome. Now, you did do this in conjunction with soul contracts with your parents, because that's part of the human condition, is to enter into this plane. All right? But anything you want to change in your life, you can change it. Now we get to the hard part. So you're going to reprogram. And you decided what you want to get rid of, and you decided what you want to attract. So you want to get rid of the thought that we're just going with the relationship thing, because anyone can use that for a job. They can use it for a car. I always attract lemons of a car. I always attract a bad job, whatever. But we're just using a relationship because it'll transfer over to a lot of things, okay? So let's say you're always attract the wrong people because you don't feel good about yourself. All right, I decided that I'm going to get rid of the thought that I'm not worth anything. I'm going to reprogram with the thought I'm valuable. This is where the work comes in, people. Guess what? It doesn't just happen in a snap, because however old you are, that's how many years you've lived with the I'm not worth it thought. All right? And you have to flush it out of every cell in your body. This is what usually happens when people are moving to a next level. So this is kind of comforting in a way. Number one, you get sick. Usually. You'll usually get sick. The reason you're getting sick is your body's trying to draw your attention to this particular aspect. It's your body saying, hello, hey there, look, this thought, this behavior, it's not working with your soul. Okay? Number two, you get uncomfortable. You get uncomfortable because you're letting go of everything you've known for all the years of your life. You're letting that thought pattern out. Okay? And you got to work through it. And number three, you usually feel like you're not getting anywhere. If you feel like you're not getting anywhere, you are probably on the verge of going somewhere. Always remember that. If you feel like you are not getting anywhere, you are on the verge of something new that the universe is getting ready to present to you. All right? Now, whether you recede away from that or you go into it and absorb yourself into it when it presents itself, that's up to you and your consciousness. But those things always happen. Almost every single person that I know, before they had a conscious shift in their life, got sick. And usually flu-like sick. Okay? It's pretty common. So if you're sick, your body is telling you something. Now, there can be other things that you can get from being sick as well. You could be maybe around something that's toxic to you. That could be a person, a food, an additive, a situation, anything. But it's still your body telling you, hello, consciousness, woo-hoo-hoo. You're not really working here in alignment with your soul. So let's kind of take a look at this and see why we're attracting this, okay? Because you are the only one in the world that attracts your situation. No, it's no one's fault. No one does it for you. It's you. So the sooner that people realize that, the sooner they can start working on themselves. And the more that you work on raising your vibration, raising your consciousness, and making conscious decisions for, here's my favorite saying, the highest and greatest good of myself and those around me, you will raise the world as well. For every person that steps a level up, it pulls the world higher. So it can be something small. It could be something big. It doesn't matter, because if every person levels up a little bit, it pulls the whole world up. And I think this is pretty evident right now, because every single thing we've ever known for all the years that we've been here is changing. Our education system, our healthcare system, our government, our world, our money, you name it, it's changing. Our food, blah, 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 everything. And that's because the planet shifted up, because enough people raised their consciousness. We're shifting up to the next level, and we're in that kind of sick mode, right? We're in that kind of going back and forth, kind of like a tennis match, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, until it becomes a ball game and we knock the ball out of the court and we move up another notch. So that is what consciousness is. Now, a lot of you are like, there's no proof of this. You are making this up. Well, guess what? Ding, 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 ding. Science has finally caught up with consciousness, and it is able to prove consciousness, and it has proved consciousness over and over, and it is a greatly expanding field of science. I know I've talked about the pH of the water, where you take, I think I'm quoting this right, but you can look it up, 2 glasses of water. You concentrate on changing the pH in one of the glasses, but not in the other glass. No, maybe there's just one glass. Maybe it's 1 glass of water. You take the pH before. Then you concentrate on changing the pH. So remember, nothing has changed, nothing, except you've added consciousness in. And then you take the pH after and the pH is changed. Ha ha ha. That's one of the simplest experiments. But actually, they are doing a lot of experiments with MRIs and with imaging to show that, yes, consciousness is actually a factor. And we've just been kind of too dumb and stupid to know about it up until this point in our evolution. So it's kind of nice. We've evolved a little bit higher. We're not as dumb and stupid as we were, centuries ago. But we are actually able to start measuring consciousness. So consciousness does exist. It does make a difference. So if you are feeling stuck, if you are feeling sick, if you are tired of feeling the way you're feeling, just make a change. Make a change. There's a lot of videos out there on tapping, but the first thing you need to start is you need to identify what's limiting you. The cool thing about tapping, now I can also work with people. I also work with people in meditation and with integrative bodywork sessions, and the same thing happens when they have those. All of a sudden they get this little light bulb or this little guidance thing that comes in. That's your consciousness. The reason you get it is because the tapping, the bodywork, the meditation, all of those work to put you into the brain wave that you need to be into to be in touch with your consciousness. And it takes the static out. And once you take the static out, things become clearer. Your guidance becomes clearer. So that is what happens with all of these things. Yes, you do have to use your body as a way to find that, because your body is the interface. That is why I am constantly telling people, listen to your body. Don't just ignore it. Listen to it, because it's telling you something. It's telling you something. But you have got to shut down the chatter. You've got to shut down the distractions, and you have got to use a method with your body, whether it's body work, a massage, even a simple massage is body work. Now, I do integrative body work, so that's more like craniosacral, myofascial release, lymphatic drainage, and energy work. But Reiki can help that. Tapping can help that. There are so many resources out there right now that you do not have an excuse by saying, well, I don't know how to do that. Because I'll tell you why you don't have an excuse. All you got to do is contact me, and I'll tell you where to start. That's pretty simple. So there's no excuse. But if you want to live in an excuse world, that's okay, because you can stay at your level as long as you want. It's all about your consciousness and where you want to be. All right? So if you are not sure of where you want to go or how you want to do it, just contact me. If you don't want to do that, get on YouTube. Try some tapping. So anyway, I just want to let everyone out there know that if you do want to work with me, go to magicmichellewoodruff.com. I have different sessions. I have integrative bodywork sessions. I can do energy health readings, which are like psychic readings, akashic readings, angel readings, any of those to help you connect with your essence. And people always ask me, how did you know that about me? How did you know I was feeling that? How did you know I was thinking that? And I'm like, I didn't. They did. The higher realms of consciousness knew, and they told me. And anyway, So you can also schedule a tapping and then Seiki tapping as well. Seiki tapping is a brand new thing. So I'm going to have a session on that later, but I'm still working on developing and trademarking Seiki tapping right now. We'll talk about that a little later. So anyway, if anyone wants to contact me, you can email me at moriahsmessage@gmail.com, moriahsmessage@gmail.com. You can go to our truckingthroughlife.com website. There's a contact us form. You can send that in. You can also send in any kind of trucking questions. If you have a question for Tom, we can do that.
Yeah, like,
okay.
How does he put up with you?
Yeah, like how does he put up with you? Or how do you handle being married to such an airy-fairy wife? Okay. You can also go to magicmichellewoodruff.com. If you want to schedule a service, you can click on the tab, click to enter the energy stream. If you're curious about a reading, but you're not quite sure you want to have a full reading, you can actually join my email list on magicmichelle.com, sign up, and when you sign up, I will email you for your full legal name, and I will do a little mini angel reading free of charge for you. So those are usually quite interesting when people get them. They're like, okay, she's not making this up. There is something there. But remember, everyone can access the information that I access. If you want to learn how to, you can too, just by learning the skills that it takes. It just depends on if you want to make the commitment or not. I'm finishing up my first intuitive practices class, and it's really going well. The girls are doing quite well connecting with their consciousness and starting to get their answers. It's very exciting for all of us. So I think that sums it up for today. You know what? If you could, share the podcast or go on, like it, renew, and subscribe. All of those things are becoming more important in the podcast world. I'm now on IMDb. Yay! Our podcast is on another platform, so pass the word. If you know anyone who might spark an interest in our podcast, we'd love for them to join our listenership. And remember, until next time,
Never drive faster than your guardian angel can fly.
Bye-bye.